Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. I am Doye Akbe and I'll be your instructor today. Our topic for today is centralization and decentralization of government. At the end of this lecture, students should be able to define centralization and decentralization of government, know the factors that give rise to the adoption of centralization of power, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of a centralized system of government, know the forms of decentralization, and then know the merits and demerits of a decentralized system of government. Now let us look at centralization. The term centralization refers to a system of governmental administration in which power is concentrated in one single central authority. In such centralized system of government, there is no constitutional provision for the sharing of governmental powers between the single central authority and any other body, but powers can be delegated to subordinate bodies. The highest degree of centralization is achieved in unitary states. In such a unitary state, there is only one legislature, one executive, and one judiciary. Local authorities that exist in a centralized state are created by the central authority that delegates power to them. Unitary states like Britain, Italy, France, and so on are examples of centralization of governmental administration. Now let us look at the factors or conditions that give rise to the adoption of centralization of power. These factors include the size of the country, absence of tribal differences, lack of fear of domination, common language and culture, lack of marked economic inequalities, absence of minority group, strong loyalty to the central government. When we say the size of the country, it means small size of a country can give rise to the adoption of a centralized system of government. Okay? Then absence of tribal differences. A centralized system of government is adopted in countries with homogeneous people, which removes tribal differences. Now let us look at the merits of centralization. The following are the advantages of centralization. 1. Stronger and stable government. One of the advantages or arguments made for a centralized system of government is that it tends to be stronger and more stable than decentralized system of government. This is as a result of the fact that the citizens show loyalty to one government. Reduction in cost. The cost of running a centralized system of government is reduced because there is no duplication of government and officers. Quicker decisions are made, there's promotion of national unity, there's uniformity in the level of development, it removes friction, it fosters spirit of oneness, there is no double loyalty, it has flexible constitution, and it is simple to operate. Now let's look at the demerits of centralization. Encouragement of dictatorship. One of the demerits or the disadvantages of centralization is that it leads to dictatorship as a result of overconcentration of power in a single authority. The central government is overburdened. In a centralized system of government, the central government is overloaded with too many problems or too much problems as a result of concentration of all governmental powers in one single authority. Prevention of local autonomy. The government is kept far from the people, it kills local initiative, it does not suit large territory, it leads to the domination of minority groups, it causes dissatisfaction. In a centralized system of government, or let's say a centralized system of government causes dissatisfaction among various sections of a country in which it's adopted as a result of the concentration of governmental power in one single authority that may be made up of people from one area. Okay? It is prone to political instability. It does not encourage wider representation and it does not create more employment opportunities. In a centralized system of government, because there is no division of power and duplication of offices, it leads to low employment opportunities. Okay, now let us look at decentralization of government. The term decentralization refers to a system of governmental administration in which powers are not concentrated in a single central authority, but shared among component regional and local units or states distinct from the federal government. Powers allocated to different authorities are clearly specified in a written constitution. There are areas of authorities such as foreign affairs, defense, currency, immigration, and so on that are reserved exclusively for the central authority and are known in the Constitution as the exclusive list. Decentralization exists in a federal structure. Federal states such as Nigeria, USA, the Federal Republic of Germany, and so on are examples of decentralization of governmental administration. Now, let us look at the forms of decentralization. 1. Devolution. There is this is a system of administration in which semi-autonomous governments are created with defined powers and functions but subordinate to the central government. This type of administration applies with unitary government in which the country may be split into units for administrative convenience. South Africa and Northern Ireland are examples of devolutionary government. 2. Deconcentration. This refers to a system of administration in which powers are shared in such a way that the component states are not directly subordinate to the central authority. Now let's look at the reasons for the adoption of decentralization. 1. Fear of domination. In a multi-ethnic nation like Nigeria, the fear of one ethnic group dominating others may give rise to the establishment of a decentralized system of government. Tribal differences. Differences in culture, religion, language, custom, tradition, and so on among different groups of a country may lead to the establishment of a decentralized system of government. Protection of the interests of the minority group. In a country where there is a sharp demarcation between majority and minority group, it will be necessary to establish a decentralized system of government in order to protect the interests of the minority group. The size of the country. Large population and wide geographical areas are some of the reasons that gave rise to the adoption of decentralization of government. Others are for rapid and even development, to bring the government nearer to the people, to expand local markets, for easy and effective government, for diverse law to be made, for security reasons, to create more employment opportunities. Okay? Now, what are the merits of decentralization? The following are the merits of decentralization. 1. Political unity. One of the advantages of a decentralized system of government is that it ensures political unity in a country where it is adopted. This is as a result of the fact that it unites people of different political, social, geographical, cultural, religious, historical, and linguistic origin together without destroying their identity and separate existence. For faster development, it encourages healthy competition, it brings the government nearer to the people, there's prevention of the emergence of a dictator because of the separation of power, it allays fear of domination, that is, fear of domination of one ethnic group on the other are reduced in a decentralized system of government. It guarantees wider consultation. It also protects the interests of minority group, and there is greater participation of the people in government. There are other merits and or advantages of decentralization of government. You can look it up. Okay. Now let's look at the demerits of decentralization of government. The following are the demerits: interstate friction. One of the disadvantages of a decentralized system of government is that it causes interstate or regional friction. This is as a result of differences in opinion among these component states or region into which powers are divided. It breeds sectional con- consciousness. Division of a country into different areas, as is done in a decentralized system of government, breeds regional or state consciousness as opposed to the national consciousness. A good example is Nigeria, where statism is the order of the day. Okay? Others are unnecessary duplication of organs of government. It is expensive to operate. There's difficulty in taking quick decisions. It creates weak centers. There's problem of coordination, and there's disparity in the level of development. So let's quickly summarize all that we've learned today. We said centralization refers to a system of governmental administration in which power is concentrated in one single central authority. The highest degree of centralization is achieved in unitary states like Britain, Italy, France, and so on, are example of centralization of governmental administration. Decentralization is a system of governmental administration in which powers are not concentrated in a single central authority but shared among component regional and local units or states distinct from the central government. Federal states such as USA, Nigeria, Federal Republic of Germany, and so on are examples of decentralization of governmental administration. Okay, I'd like you to take this class exercise. First of all, I want you to read up devolution of power and deconcentration of power. And then secondly, I want you to explain the meaning of centralization and give reasons why it is adopted. Hope you had hope you enjoyed the lecture. Till next time, have a nice day and stay safe.